We're glad to have you with us. This is Business Incorporated on Channels Television. I am BC Adebayo. On today's show, HSBC to slash at least 10,000 jobs in order to reduce costs. And U.S. energy giant ExxonMobil finalizes investment in Mozambique's juicy gas. Plus, foreigners dump South African stocks at the fastest pace in 2 years. Well, let's get the show started right away with the markets. And the markets here in Africa were mixed at intraday today as the all-share index here in Nigeria was down 0.44%. And in South Africa, the JSE gained 0.70%. On the other hand, Egypt maintained its positive momentum from the previous day, but this time with a 1.40% increase at intraday. In Kenya, the Bourse ended its trading day lower at 0.2% on Friday. And it's the same situation in the Middle East, where markets were also mixed owing to lower oil prices and expected trade talks between U.S. and China later this week as investors await negotiation deals between both countries. Now, Abu Dhabi index was up 0.79% at intraday, and in Dubai, the index was also up 0.78%. In Qatar, Qatar and Saudi Arabia actually were trading lower as their numbers slipped 0.14% and 0.39% each. Turn now to Europe, where most of the markets traded cautiously this morning as traders search for hints on the direction of Brexit and the U.S.-China trade talks, as well as the economic direction in Germany. Annette Weisbach joins us from Germany for more headlines today. Annette, how are you doing today?
Very well. The market is actually quite cautious these days because everybody's looking at what happens to the trade talk. And also, we had economic data out of Germany, industrial orders, which fell more than expected. So it's another sign that Germany is most likely headed towards a recessionary scenario. So the second quarter was already shrinking here in Germany. We are an economy which is very open, very dependent on international trade. And the third quarter now looks also increasingly negative. So the estimates are very high or the odds are very high that Germany is actually entering technical recession in the third quarter of this year.
Well, let's talk about banks now. They keep slashing jobs. The HSBC is planning to shed 10,000 jobs. That's to cut costs. The time's not getting better for banks soon. And are banks like Deutsche Bank planning a similar move as well?
Well, actually, it's very unclear when times are actually going to be better for banks because there are loads of mega trends weighing on the profitability of the sector. So let's start off with like a common theme, which is affecting many industries, which is digitalization and automation of many processes. So trading revenues are affected here. And also the number of people you need in those units are affected. Hence, we see the job cuts across the board with many banks. Then we have investment banking revenues at a level last seen in 2006. So there is no real pickup in that revenue for investment banks or the branches inside the banks. And that is a headache as well, because clearly lower revenues can't compensate for the high cost basis the banks are sitting on. And that leads us to the third conclusion currently, that we'll see job cuts with all the major banks. From April to now, the major banks made headlines by announcing more than 40,000 job cuts for the global banking scene in order to get the costs down to a new world of revenues, which they haven't seen previously. Of course, the fact that the central banks across the world, especially here the ECB in Europe, is cutting rates aggressively once again is also not helping for the profitability outlook of banks. So to answer your question, I think it's very unclear when we see the fortunes turning better for the banking industry as such. If you look at the markets, the valuation of banks is very low. They don't think that we'll see a turnaround scenario pretty soon.
All right, Annette, let's celebrate now as one of the oldest airlines in the world. KLM is 100 years old today. What's the shares of the airline looking like? And is there some form of celebration for customers in Europe?
Well, actually, there's no big celebration for customers in Europe by KLM. KLM is the only airline who made it to its 100th anniversary, having its proper name. And now they belong to Air France, of course. But still, there were a couple of celebrations across the globe, I should say, over the weekend in Jakarta, also in Dubai, in Agra. So they had quite a bit of their party moment to celebrate the 100 years, but there's no special occasion. What KLM is doing, though, for its 100th birthday is to sort of remodeling the company and also give a vision of sustainability. It is a bit odd being an airline and being at the forefront of the sustainability movement, but still KLM is insisting on that it's crucial also for an airline to think about how they can sort of make their business sustainable and, of course, not carbon neutral, but how they can reduce their carbon footprint. And that's, I think, one of the main messages which they are getting across now for their big anniversary.
Thanks for those updates and enjoy the rest of your day.